What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys my most favorite game in Roblox. This game is a action fighting game. What we're actually going to do in this video, since I am an adult, we're going to be reviewing the Smithereens, something like that. Smith something shotgun. And then I want to tell you how to find a weapon that's actually good based off of its base stats. So we're gonna do that in the second half of the video, I believe. I don't know. We'll see how this plays out, but it's gonna be in here somewhere. So stay tuned to that. Subscribe to the channel. Don't forget that one. Subscribing is the biggest part. And yeah, so let's just get straight into this weapon review. So the Smithereens unique ability is called Fearlessness. So on hitting a enemy with all fired bullets, increase the increases the firearm critical hit rate and the firearm critical hit damage of the attack. Upon landing a critical hit on the enemy or on a enemy, grants the firearm's unique ability amplification. On the screen, you're gonna see like normal. On the right side, you'll see this weapon's unique ability maxed, and I don't have it maxed, so I'll be reading base stats. So let's go over the basic information and all that good stuff. So fire rate is minus 40%, kind of juicy, and then aim recovery speed is minus 70%. Aim recovery speed, if you don't know, it's just when you ADS, how long it takes for you to stop ADSing, or to fully go back to like up here to down here. How long it's gonna take you to do that. So that's minus 70%. Firearm critical hit rate is 100% with a firearm critical hit damage of 5%. And remember that this is on landing all bullets. So once you land every pellet from that shot, that shot will have 100% crit rate with a bonus of 5% critical hit damage. Amplification. So amplification duration is 1 second. Shell capacity gets a bonus of 2. So you get 2 extra shells when you get critical hits on your enemy. So you'll get an extra 2 pellets per shot. So it's a little bit extra damage right there. As you can see on the screen, this amplification, the pellet count stays the same at 2, but the duration just increases from 1 second to 2 seconds. Your critical hit damage stays the same at 5%, even at max. Obviously, you can't go higher than 100% crit rate. And then your fire rate goes from 40 to 5, well, negative 40 to negative 5, and your aim recovery speed goes from negative 70 to negative 40. The fire rate is probably the best part of this. Other than that, I would say this unique ability it's cool, but it's kind of mid. So that's the Smithereens unique ability. Now let's go ahead and go straight to the Smithereens base stats. So the base stats of the Smithereens ultimate shotgun, it is like I said, ultimate shotgun. It is in the high rounds or high power round category. The firearm attack is 8,989 with a shell capacity of 10. Fire rate of 75. Reload time is a 1.6 seconds. Firearm critical hit rate 1% with a critical hit damage multiplier of 1.1 times. Our attribute side effect trigger is a 1.67%, and our weak point damage is 1 times multiplier. The hip fire accuracy is 16.6 with a aim shot accuracy of 31.11. Like I said in my other shotgun videos, the accuracy it's gonna always show pretty low just because it's a spread shot, because it has pellets and it's not a single bullet. So there you go. You don't have to worry about this too much, but if it is a lot lower, you're gonna have a problem. So try not to have it too low, at least too low from base. So let's talk about these stats real quick. They're not that great. They're not good, actually. A firearm attack of 8,000 8,900. That's about like on the low end of submachine guns in this game, and those handguns. You know what I mean? So it isn't like this thing is really cranking out the damage. The critical hit rate on this one, at least on the Smithereens, it doesn't matter because you know the unique ability will give us 100% as long as we land all pellets. So the critical hit rate doesn't matter, but that critical hit damage multiplier only being a 1.1, that's really low, which because our firearm attack is already pretty low, that the multiplier even with mods isn't going to be as high as like, you know, 6 times multiplier that we see with some LMGs and assault rifles and stuff like that. So our multipliers are already low, and the weak point damage, the 1 times multiplier, that's fine because, you know, as shown in like the Eternal Willpower video or something like that, even 1 times weak point damage multiplier still is, you can still build off that. But it's rough with this weapon. Although it shoots quote unquote 10 bullets at a time, 1 shot has 10 pellets, so every 10 of those will receive the multipliers individually. It's still not a high number because that firearm attack is stupid low with a really low critical hit damage multiplier. I don't know. These are trash stats. I'm just gonna keep it a buck with you. They're garbage. And they're not just garbage on paper. Well, you're gonna see here in a minute, they still suck. So let's just go straight to build 1. And here we are, build 1, the first build. We have the basics on here: rifling reinforcement, action and reaction. With this particular weapon, we didn't put anything for critical hit chance. We only put stuff for critical hit damage because the unique ability gives us 100% critical hit chance. So we put on better concentration and concentration priority. Concentration priority reduces our reload time, but that's okay because the Smithereens, just like the Executioner shotgun, has a really fast reload time. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Now, this is where things get a little bit weird. So obviously we went for weak point sight and weak point sight because, you know, if you're going to use this in a Colossus fight or anything like that, you're going to hit weak points, which is a damage multiplier, so you want to do that anyways. And then we have real life fighter to give us a little bit more firearm attack when we do hit weak points. The only issue I would say with real life fighter though is just because our firearm attack is already pretty freaking low on this weapon, it isn't like we're gonna get a massive boost of damage just because our firearm attack is already pretty low. We obviously went for shell up because we want that more pellets per shot, so putting us from 10 to 13. And then I went for fire rate. This slot was already in there, so I wasn't about to roll it off. But you can put, let's say you want just a little bit more damage, you can put like an elemental mod in here. The elemental mod only being 30%, it's not going to be too high numbers just because the base firearm attack of this weapon is already low. So you're going to see anywhere between like 3,000 and 8,000 elemental damage added to your raw damage. If you did put an elemental mod in here, which I would recommend for sure with the shotgun. I mean, this weapon's just not all that great. We have the staple mods to make any weapon actually viable and good, but man, this thing is it's just not really cooking. Unfortunately, it's not. So let's go over the new base stats real quick, and then I'll show you the damage. So firearm attack is 17,384.77 with a shell capacity of 13. Fire rate is 93, and magazine size, or rounds per magazine, is 7. Our reload time is a 2.08 seconds with a firearm critical hit rate 1%. Firearm critical hit damage multiplier is a 1.92 times multiplier. Attribute status effect trigger rate stayed the same at a 1.67, and our weak point damage is now a 1.75 times multiplier. Accuracy, hip fire accuracy 13.33, and aim shot accuracy 24.88. So, like I said before, the damage isn't that great. This 17,000 damage, it's like if you've seen my video with the if you see my video with the what's that, divine punishment, the divine punishment, it doesn't do more damage, just because this shotgun has 13 pellets. But if we're talking about each individual instance of damage, the divine punishment does more damage simply due to the fact that the critical hit damage multiplier is higher. But I mean, if we're talking about per shot, not just per singular instance of damage, the Smithereens will do more damage per shot than the divine punishment. But the divine punishment, what, that build I had 54 round magazine, you know what I mean, you're hitting anywhere between, let's say, 100 to 400,000 crits. You're better off using a divine punishment, if you know what I mean. So anyways, that's this. Let's go ahead and look at some damage here. Just like, I'm gonna try to do this some justice, so we're gonna like maximize the damage, see how high we can get the damage with this weapon. So let's go straight to damage testing. So Enzo's not gonna cut it because we don't really care for the crit. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do two. One of them, we're gonna use Leopard. Now, great. The reason why we're gonna use Leopard is because of his Transcendent mod. Let's go ahead and slap this Transcendent mod in here. This one's gonna go ahead and change our second ability, and this is gonna give us 52% firearm attack. It's only for 5 seconds, but that's perfectly fine. I don't really care. We're just doing it for the testing here. So we're gonna take this build into here, and before I do it, we're gonna just test out the base damage and all that good stuff with this weapon. So let's see what body shots look like. 45,470. What was that? 78. So pretty good. Just like every other shotgun video, I gotta bust out the calculator so we can get some actual numbers. So what did I say? 45,578. So there's a couple different numbers there. It's because we're getting some real life fighter stacks. But if I shoot them in the nuts, then I get less damage. Let's see. There's a 58,000, 62,000. Tell me, does this make any sense to you? What does this say? Real life fighter. Upon successfully attacking weak points. How on earth am I getting stacks shooting this dude, woman, whatever, in the stomach and the nut area? How? Dude, look, how do I got 8 stacks? You gotta be kidding me. Alright, no body shot testing, because this is actually doesn't make any sense. So let's go ahead and just go straight for headshots. Alright, we're at 10 stacks, so let's see. About 62,000. Yeah, 62,460. So let's do that. 62,460 times our 13 pellets. That is a 811,000 damage. Not bad. Not bad. 811,000 on the weak point hits on this enemy. Let's go ahead and change the faction real quick. Put on Order of Truth, the absolute dog waters. Let's get our 10 stacks and then see what our damage is now. So we got 10 stacks there. All right, 146,861, I believe. 146,861 times our 13 pellets puts us at a 1.9 mil damage. Not bad, right? Not bad. Now, what I want to do now is use Leopard. I only have 5 seconds to do it, so use Leopard and get our 52% firearm attack increase with our 10 stacks and see what this is looking like. So let's 172,000 damage. 172,006. 172,6 times 13 pellets. That put us at 2,236,000 damage. Not bad. To be fair, I will say the Smithereens isn't that bad. It's not super duper amazing. I mean, let's see the fire rate of this thing. And the reload speed. Yeah. So it's not that bad, right? As you can see right there, we weren't hitting all pellets, so we weren't getting all of our crits. So there would be a downside to that. You know, under perfect circumstances where you will always hit every pellet and receive all crits, you'll get the maximum damage. But as soon as you miss any, an 18,000 hit, it's not that great. See, 20,000 damage if you don't hit all of your... See what I mean? That's a massive DPS decrease if you don't hit all the crits. So, being that you have to hit every single crit, and I'm gonna be honest here, alright? I mainly play on my PC, where I'm at now. It's in my little, like, come sit on my desk in the little room, and I play. But sometimes when I don't want to play or sit down here and play, and I just want to relax, and if I just want to do a little bit of grinding for for our next video, I go downstairs and I'm on the PlayStation. Holy moly, is it a world of a difference when it comes to aiming from M&K to controller? Controller is, it's not it for me. It's a lot harder. So I commend all of you controller players for sure who are able to, you know, perform good in this game, because it is not easy. I'll say that. But anyways, so with all the, you have to be under the right circumstances and right conditionings for the Smithereens shotgun to actually do decent numbers, to do good enough numbers. As you can see, I wasn't hitting every pellet, so my damage severely tanked. But when you do hit all pellets is when you can do damage. You can all the time hit all your pellets on a Colossus fight, but if you're not hitting weak points, you're not really getting too much damage. Plus the Colossi, whatever, is going to severely reduce the damage that this weapon does anyways. So, I don't know, I tried this weapon with Glay, Infinite Ammo Build Glay. I tried this weapon with Blair, I tried it with Valby, I tried it with Enzo. It's just, to be honest, it's just not it. It's just not it. So, there's that. Now, let me tell you guys, now this is the portion where I was talking about earlier, where I want to talk to you guys about base stats and determining whether or not a weapon is good. We use the Blue Blood Bloomer compared to the Firefly, because these are some two weapons that I've actually been looking into. So, let's look at some base stats here, right? So if we look at the base stats of the Blue Blood Bloomer, say that 10 times, Blue Blood Bloomer, firearm attack is 8,978 with a 999 fire rate, 27 round magazine, reload time 1.3, critical hit rate 12%, critical hit damage 1.5 times multiplier. We don't care for attribute status effect right now, and our weak point is a 1. Pretty decent accuracy as well. So let's go ahead and look at the Firefly now. So the Firefly firearm attack is 9,237 with a 857 fire rate, 35 round magazine, 1.35 second reload time, 20% critical hit rate, 1.2 times critical hit damage multiplier, and a weak point damage multiplier of 1 times, 66.66 hit fire, and 74.44 aimed. Now, this is where you can make your decision here, right? Now, although the Firefly has a higher critical hit rate, it has a lower base critical hit damage multiplier. And the Blue Blood Bloomer has a lower critical hit rate base and a higher critical hit damage multiplier. So all that means is, although this does have a lower base damage, but not by a lot, but it has a higher fire rate and a lower magazine. So obviously we're going to increase the firearm attack for both of these. That's a no-brainer. But the issue is, once you start getting into the multipliers is when you really have to make your choice. Or when you're talking about what's the best. So the firearm attack on this is lower, but the multiplier is higher. So the ceiling for this one will be greater than for the the Firefly, just because the critical hit damage multiplier is lower at a 1.2 times. Now you might think a 0.3 times multiplier doesn't make too much of a difference, but it does, because mods are always going based off of your base stat. So this says, oh, plus 120% of your base stat. So we put that on, now we're at a 2.64. If we were to put it on the Blue Blood Bloomer, as you can see, now we're at a 3.3. You get it? So these multipliers are super, super, super important when it comes to determining whether or not a weapon will be good. So because the critical hit damage multiplier on the Blue Blood Bloomer already was base higher, and the firearm attack on it isn't much lower. See, 8,978, and you see this, the Firefly is only 9,200. So what is that on? That's what? That's 100, 300, pushing roughly like 400 area damage difference. And as you see, our multiplier, critical hit damage multiplier, 2.64 times multiplier, and this one is already at a 3.3 times multiplier. So our multiplier is a lot higher, which is gonna net us. See, we got a 4.422 with those two mods on. Let's put this on, and this is a 3.5. See? So what's gonna happen is the Blue Blood Bloomer, although the firearm attack is a little bit lower, each crit will be higher. Now this is where you'll weigh in your options. Although the crits for the Blue Blood Bloomer will be higher, your firearm critical hit rate is 8% lower. Now, just like I said to you about how we'll put this one on because it's a hot. Yeah, we'll put this on just to show, just for the crit purposes, crit chance purposes. We're not looking at firearm attack because I wouldn't use this. But let's say you put edging shot on, right? So it's only going to give you 43% of the base firearm critical hit rate. So we're only getting 5% on top of that. So we're at 17.6. But if we were to put edging shot on the Firefly, well, let's see now. Now we went from 20 to 28.6. So we're gonna hit crits more often with the Firefly, but our critical hit damage will be roughly a little bit lower because the multiplier is lower. But this one, we won't hit crits as much, but when we do hit a crit, it'll be a lot higher. Now, then here other factors play as well, like magazine size, fire rate. You know, obviously this one has, Blue Blood Bloomer has a higher fire rate, but a lower magazine size. The Firefly, a little bit lower fire rate, but a higher magazine size. And then the weak point damage is both 1 times on here anyway, so you'll get the same increase either way it goes when you apply that. So then what you do is you get your 2 mods, and then you just test. You go into here, and you see, okay, well, what's gonna net me more DPS? So that's a 14,000 headshot, 68,000 crits, pretty nice on the Blue Blood Bloomer. Now let's go ahead and see the Firefly, 47,000 crits. See that? It's all because of the multipliers. So you kind of getting it? Kind of getting it? So that's when it comes to checking out a weapon's potential. That's what you want to look at. Your main priority will always be firearm attack, critical hit damage multiplier, and weak point damage multiplier. Everything else is secondary. Everything else essentially is a quality of life. Now, I will say, critical hit damage multiplier is above critical hit rate, but they're really close. So if you have a 1%, but your critical hit damage multiplier is like 2 times base, you better start using Descendant critical hit rate buffs. But so pretty much that's how it works. And so when you look at the Smithereens shotgun, or Smithereens shotgun, you'll see that it has low firearm attack, and it also has low critical hit damage multiplier at 1.1 times. But the crit rate is a 1%, but we're not worried about that because of the what's it called? The unique ability. So let's just say this was 100%. If you were to hit all pellets, as you can see, as I showed you, not all the time you would hit all pellets, you know. But let's say it said 100% crit rate, but dang, our crit damage multipliers are 1.1 times. That's freaking low, and weak point is really low. Attribute status effect trigger rate is also really low, so I couldn't even like take advantage of like conductor mods, like fire conductor and stuff like that, just because it's gonna be pretty difficult to actually proc an element. Our base damage is already kind of low, so what do? You know what I mean? So yeah, the Smithereens shotgun. It's not the worst in the world. It's definitely not the best. You can for sure do better with one of the two rare shotguns that I told you about before, either the In a Blink or the Subconsciousness. You'll be better off using those. So, my bad. So, all in all, the Smithereens shotgun is okay. It's cool, it's fun to use just because, you know, you can always hit a bunch of crits if you land all your pellets. Seeing all these crits are nice, it's cool to look at. If you hit them all, it's cool to look at. But practically, it's not that great. So, that's the Smithereens in a nutshell. I hope you guys learned a little bit of something about how you pick and choose for a weapon. Or how do you choose which weapon is good enough to actually build out by observing the base stats and all that. And yeah, that's it for me. So what's gonna happen now is I'm gonna do some gameplay here. I'm gonna put some gameplay like normal. We're gonna run a dungeon. I'll show you what the damage is on a Colossus. It's not that great. So we'll do that, and then yeah, that'll be the end of the video. So that's it for me, guys. Hey, I just want to say, make sure to subscribe to the channel. That really helps me out. And yeah, until next time.